Welcome to the Perky radio show here at WDRB Media. My guest today is Larry Parrish, and he is the founder and CEO of Next Level Experience, as well as Next Level Community Impact Mentorship Program. Larry, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you as a guest. My daughter took part of your program on Saturday, I think it was, of last weekend, and raved about the program.
Yes.
And I thought, what better person to have on the show than someone that is helping kids all across the country. So please tell us a little more about why you started Next Level Experience and the mentorship program.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. So I started at Bank of America as a professional teller in 1991, and I worked my way up to a national executive. And when I retired from Bank of America in 2012, while working there, I was doing work for about 5 cities, Boston, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, where I had my full-time job, but then I also had a part-time job at Bank of America where I was in charge of about 100 youth, mentoring them and teaching them all about the banking industry. So when I retired from Bank of America, I said, what better way for me to start doing this for myself? And that's how I created the Next Level Experience company and then founded the Next Level Community Impact, where I mentor about 12 to 14 students every year from the city of Charlotte. And it's so unique because Charlotte was my first contract when I retired and started the Next Level Experience. And then I said, well, how can I give back? Because Charlotte was like my roots, even though I'm not from there, because it was my first contract. So I started the mentorship there back 4 years ago, and now it has grown. And I tell you, it's just phenomenal. We bring the children to Washington, D.C. for a leadership summit every year where they get to go on Capitol Hill. They go to the White House. They meet different millionaires and executives across the industry. And what we also try to do is fit in whatever their aspirations are in life. I try to find people that can talk to them and help me mentor them to get them to where they want to be in life. But I tell you, this is something that I have a passion for. I grew up in the projects in Washington, D.C., never really had a mentor, never really had a father figure in my life. I looked up to my uncle and other people from church, but I said, if I ever came into a place where I'm able to help and give back, this is what I would love to do. Now, I just happen to get paid for what I do with the Next Level Experience, but then what I do for the Next Level Community Impact, that's my give back. And it feels so good when you're doing something like this that it doesn't even feel like work.
Well, that's the way it should be. That's how you know you're doing things that are right in your wheelhouse, when it doesn't feel like work and you get paid for it.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So I guess having a little bit of your background helps us understand why you started this company. Give us some examples of some success stories, maybe of people that you've touched over the last couple of years that, maybe give us an idea of the industry they were interested in. And I think a lot of people now are looking towards sports figures, entertainment figures for their role models. But that's only just a couple industries where you're obviously reaching out to people with lots of different industries and connecting with mentors. Can you give us an example of a success story of someone you helped mentor and got them in touch with a great mentor that's helped lead the way for them?
Absolutely. I'll share two. One, real quick, her name is Mary from Charlotte, and Mary came to this country with her mom, and her grandma. And when Mary got here, and she doesn't mind me telling the story because it was printed in Charlotte, when Mary got here, unfortunately, a week later, her mom committed suicide. Mary nor her grandmother could speak any English, but now Mary speaks 7 different languages. We were able to give her a mentor to help her manage through life, and now she's off in college, and she still keeps in touch with me, and she sends me a text every now and then, or she'll call me every now and then. She said, Mr. Parrish, because of you and the mentoring program, I'm doing XYZ in college. That's just one, but then I want to talk about Rashawn. Rashawn was part of our mentoring program, and he got into a little trouble, and everyone told me, they said, well, you should just really just kick him out of the program. I said, no, this is why I started the program for people like Rashawn. I'm not going to kick him out of the program because he got in trouble. I'm going to mentor him personally myself and keep in touch with him. So long story short, got into some trouble, had to pay the money back that was involved in the theft. But this is the great story that I really love to tell here. Now I'm still his mentor. I'm like his adopted son. He says, Mr. Parrish, had you had given up on me and I wasn't part of this program, I know I would have ended up in jail. And for me, I said, this is why I wake up every day, and this is why I do this, because of Mary, because of Ashawn, because of the other ones that we've touched. And if you can just save one, then it was worth every hour, every second, every minute that I had to put in. Because it's a sacrifice sometimes for my family to put so much into this mentoring program,
Sure.
but having a good family to back you always makes the difference because they can see the passion in what you're doing.
Exactly right. That's fantastic. Can you give me an idea of the range of mentors you're able to help with? Obviously, you have a lot of history in the banking industry. And I find it very interesting that your story started with being a teller, because I know my oldest daughter is graduating from UNC Charlotte in May with a finance background. And I said, well, what do you want to do with finance? She's like, I really have no idea. And I think it's a typical scenario for most graduates is, yes, I have this degree now. Yes, it's in a certain category, but there's so many different jobs in that category. They're not really sure what they want to do. So internships is definitely the best way to job shadow and figure out what component of that field they want to pursue. Are there certain fields you specialize in? Or are you open to all fields, or how does that work?
I'm open to all fields because what I do is I bring other people alongside me to help mentor the students that we bring in. So we have people from the law field, we have people from the medical field, we have people from the political field, we have people that are entrepreneurs. I mean, just a wide range of everyone, because I want to make sure that I'm able to touch everyone. But I love telling the story about Jacob, because Jacob really wanted to go into the medical field, and we were able to get Jacob into an internship where he was actually able to witness hip replacement and the surgery and everything that went along with that. As a result of that, Jacob said, medical field's not what I want to go into, and now he's changed the whole career, and now he's in the finance field. Just got his real estate license.
Well, very good. But again, I think the story goes back to kids not knowing what they want to do. And having to choose their major, choose their college as sophomores, as juniors, and by the latest seniors, pick your school, pick your major, and they get there and they really don't know what they really want to do. And it's so difficult to get those internships, get those mentors, get that job shadowing experience. How do people get involved with Next Level Experience? How do you connect with them? Do they sign up for your program, or how do you reach out to them? Are you working with schools? How is that connection started?
Awesome. I partnered with the Mayor's Youth Employment Program in the city of Charlotte.
Okay.
This is my 4th year doing the training. So I train, it's about 40 schools that we train, and they sign up for the program, and then we come in and we teach them the job readiness. We come in, we teach them the customer service, and we come in and we teach them the financial literacy, and then they're certified with a certificate that's signed by the mayor and Next Level. And then what the mayor has is she has a partnership with the businesses across Charlotte, and when people go on the interview, they're actually able to use that certificate that says that I'm certified, that I've had the training for job readiness, for customer service, and financial literacy.
That's fantastic. And how many kids are typically signed up in one of these programs, or one of these training sessions?
It's typically about anywhere from about 1,500 students.
Wow, that's incredible. So how do you staff that type of response? And do you have a certain ratio you try and work with? 20 to 1?
So we try
30 to 1? How do you?
Yeah, we try to work with.
That's a big number. How do you manage all those kids?
We try to work with. Well, we go to the schools, and we typically try to train about 60 at a time, and we break them up into 2 teams. So it's 30 and 30, and then we rotate them throughout the training. So again, they're not sitting down. It's very interactive. We get so much great feedback from the training, because when they first walk in, they're like, oh, this is going to be another boring class.
Right.
And by the time it's time to leave, we have to say, okay, you're going to have to go because you got to get your bus.
Right. There's a deadline.
There's a deadline.
That's right.
And then sometimes I have to fly out, and I hate to do it, but sometimes I have to say, okay, you're going to have to email me the next question because I have to fly back home tonight. And that's typically like on a Friday. And then we finish teaching, and then all the students, they're like sponges. They just want to hang around and just soak up so much more information. And I have to sometimes cut them off and like, okay, I have a 4 o'clock flight, but right. I promise you I'll get every question answered. Here's my card. Email me. and they email me.
Good for you.
And I make sure I answer every student that emails me.
Good for you. And that's obviously very time-consuming and takes a lot of effort, so I'm sure they all appreciate your genuine effort in helping them. I want to read a paragraph off the postcard that my daughter received on Saturday because I think it has a lot of great important information on it. Next Level Experience is a leader when it comes to delivering impactful, engaging, and informational customized workshops for government agencies and businesses of all sizes. We specialize in customer service, leadership, problem resolution, and time management workshops. How could you add to that? Like, why is that your summary of all that you do? Give me some additional information about that paragraph. If someone were to read that, what do you want their takeaway to be?
Couple of things. Okay, so when I was at Bank of America, I was working in Prince George's County, and my boss came to me at the time, and she says, Larry, I need you to go to Washington, D.C., and we're stack ranked. And at this particular time, there was 178 markets in the entire franchise, East, West Coast. And you're stack ranked based upon your results when it comes to customer service. So I was about maybe 49 in Prince George's County. My boss wanted me to go to 173, Washington, D.C. They were 173 out of 178. And she said, it's going to give you 2 years to get it done because you're going to probably have to change the staff there. Mm-hmm. But when I went there and I met the people, and I said, wow, it's not going to take me 2 years. It's going to take me 6 months. And here's why I knew it was only going to take me 6 months. It's because I looked around the room and I saw that everyone had the ability of the skills. I could go in and teach them all the skills, but they had to have the will. So when I looked around the room and I said, okay, they're engaging. We were able to turn around a team that they said would take 2 years to move the dial. We went from 173 to number 7 in the nation. We did it in 6 months, and we had 2 people that turned over. We made history, and now when that happened, that's when they said, oh, we need you to kind of do this at the top of the house, because if you can do that for 40 stores, which everybody had counted DC out, because remember, they were 173 out of 178. But I knew if they had the will, I had all the skills to teach them to make them better. They had it in them. They just needed someone to believe in them.
Exactly right. And give them the process and the formula and the infrastructure to make it happen. And the fact that you only had two,
one of my
the fact you only had 2 turnovers
is also
one of my
mentors told me.
Yes,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said the fact that you only had 2 people leave is also incredible, because sometimes you change the infrastructure and you take a mentality of having terrible customer service, 173 ranking, and bring them up to number 7. Sometimes people say, oh, we're out of here. I'm not going to do that, or they're asking too much, or we were never trained to do it that way, or that's not me. The fact that only 2 left is incredible as well. They were all willing to learn.
And it's funny you should say that, because I remember what my mentor, and he's still at Bank of America, he's a national executive there, his name is Keith Cockrell, and he said to me, there's 2 things that you have control over, your attitude and your effort. And that has always stuck with me, and I always tell all the students that I teach across the franchise that 2 things you control, your attitude and your effort.
No, exactly right. Now, what you've done, was it a certain company you did this for?
So we work with the federal government. I just did work for 10 federal credit unions, the largest credit union. We just did work for the Atlanta Airport. We've done work for DTT Surveillance. They're the largest surveillance company. We've done work for Providence Hospital, Children's Hospital, Washington Hospital Center. We just have a huge range. And the reason why I did this, I remember I'd taken a class at the Ritz-Carlton, and the Ritz-Carlton is awesome. And I was like, I'm looking at these people that's delivering this workshop, and everybody's coming to me, and it's like, Larry, you need to start your company because you can do it just as good as they can. Yeah. And here we are today. 6 years later, and this will be the best year that we've ever had with Next Level. And here's the funny thing. I have done 0 advertising for the company. It's all been word of mouth.
That's incredible. That's a great savings towards your bottom line, that's for sure. So with all your experience in Next Level customer service, which industries, I kind of have a gut as to what your answer is going to be. I'm just curious from your perspective, which industries need the most help based on your own interaction with customer service in your daily life?
Retail, the banking industry are the top 2, and fast food.
And fast food. What about hospitality, like hotels and?
Hotels typically do okay. There's still room for opportunity,
Okay.
but I see a huge improvement in some of the hotels because all in at the Ritz-Carlton. The Marriott is one that I stay at a lot near great. But when I look across the industry and I look at who needs the most help, I would say the healthcare industry, the banking industry, fast food, and retail.
Okay. And obviously, retail is near and dear to my heart since I have a product that's in retail stores. And obviously, a lot of the big box stores are struggling. You saw Toys R Us this week close their doors. Tell me what big box stores are missing in customer service. Where's the disconnect?
I think it starts with the hiring process and the people that you're hiring. Because are you hiring people for a job or are you hiring people for a career? Now, with me, with Next Level, I don't hire people for a job. I hire people for a career. And I'm not saying you have to stay with me forever,
Right.
but while you're here and you're working with me, you're going to treat this like it's a career. And I think that's where it has to start. It has to start at the onset of the interview process and making sure that you have the right people in the job.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, do you feel like expectations have dropped? Is that one of the reasons why customer service has really gone the toilet? I look at a lot of the cell phone companies too, whether it be Sprint or Verizon or AT&T, T-Mobile, all of them seem like they all have just a lot of challenges when it comes to customer service. Would you add them to that list of top 5 as well?
I would, and what I would say is, I think, and I had to do this when I was at the bank, we were so quick to fill a body in a spot that we would just take any old body because we had to get this body filled. This position had to be filled. But then I said, hey, let's take a step back, because if we keep hiring or we keep doing the same thing, we're going to keep getting the same results. So let's take those extra 2 weeks. Yeah, let's take those extra 2 weeks and make sure that we get the right candidate in the job.
So here's my question. If it's step 1 is the hiring, is the problem that people are doing the hiring don't have the background to hire, or is it because their hiring process itself is broken?
I think it's both. I think the hiring process could be broken, and I think people they've got to get that notion, because I think what happens is they get pressure just to fill a position.
Right. And I think a lot of times they take their top salesperson and make them into a sales manager, even though they may have no background in hiring or proper HR questions or what's ethical and what's allowed. Obviously, you see all kinds of executives being fired at major corporations based on how they behave with different sexual orientations and different sexual conduct. If people have an HR background or understand what they can and cannot do, that would obviously solve some of the problem. But like we're talking about, primarily it's asking the right questions, finding the right people. So I don't know if this is something in your wheelhouse or not, but how do you find the right people for the job? Are there certain characteristics you look for when you're hiring or training, or you encourage them to look for when hiring or training?
What I always tell my team is you should always be looking for top talent. So if I'm in the cleaners, I'm looking for top talent. If I'm in the fast food, if I'm in retail, I'm looking for top talent. And I will always say have your business card on you, and you're passing those business cards out, because you're always looking to upgrade your talent, bring in emerging talent. And one of the things that I always tell people, there's 2 types of people. You've got your boss and you've got your leaders. So the boss is going to tell you what to do, but the leader is going to show you what to do. So I look for some of those things when I'm out, and I look for those type of things when I'm at church, and just some of my friends, and saying, if you know other people who have some of the skills that I'm looking for, I got friends over here hiring, or I'm hiring, and that has been my process, and that's how we've been successful with the business and when I was at Bank of America.
Makes sense. So I'm sure there's hiring managers listening to the show or watching the show on YouTube or on social media. So I'm going to ask you the golden question. If you had to pick 3 characteristics of a person that make great customer service representatives, what would those 3 characteristics be?
I would say honesty, someone who's trustworthy, and committed.
Okay. Honest, trustworthy, and committed. Give us a little explanation as to why those 3.
I'm looking for people because I always want you to be honest with the people. I'm looking for someone who I can trust on the team, so I will know that you're going to do the right thing even when no one else is looking. And I need someone who's committed, because if I'm out getting more business, I need to know that you're going to be there. If the office is opening up at 7, I know you're going to be there at 6:30 because I know that you're committed and has the same passion and DNA that I have.
And that's not easy to find, but at least you know what you're looking for. That's half the battle.
And it's funny. It's not easy to find, but it sure is possible.
It sure is. And I think commitment also falls into staying until the store is ready to close or the business is ready to close. I was at a function yesterday. It was supposed to be from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I always find it very interesting. At 6:30, people start packing up. 6:45, most people are gone. 7 o'clock, just the diehards are still there. And I always wonder why, if you're supposed to be there from 3 to 7 p.m., what gives you the right, unless you're lack of commitment, to leave early? Because there are people that could be still walking by that could learn from you or could want to do business with you, but you weren't there at 6:45, so now that's a lost opportunity. So commitment seems to be a real issue in a lot of industries, because they are looking for, hey, it's Friday, can I leave at 4:30 instead of 5? Or, hey, can I leave early? Can I? The boss has left early, so I guess I can leave early. That commitment issue is a real challenge, I think, in today's market and businesses.
Well, that goes back to what I just said. Are you going to do the right thing even when no one is looking?
That's exactly
and
right.
Also, I'm treating this like a job. I'm not treating this like a career, because there's a difference. If you treat it like a job, that's what they're going to give you. But if you ask them in the hiring process, you're looking for those people who are looking for a career, then you're going to get different results. But if you keep hiring the same people, you'll get the same results.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So how do people find you? Give us all your social media handles, your website, phone number if you're interested. How can people that are watching or listening get a hold of you and learn more?
Okay, I am Larry Parrish at IamLarryParrish.com, or they can reach me at NLEXT.com. Again, that's Larry at NLEXT.com, and my number is 240-695-3776. I'll repeat it, 240-695-3776. Again, Larry Parrish, CEO, Next Level. And I always like to say this. People won't always remember what you say to them, but they're going to always remember how you treated them.
That's exactly right. That's a great quote. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to touch on, Larry, to make sure that we drive home the point of how important it is to have great trained customers or employees that can take care of your customers, the fact that you're able to help the youth in learning great customer service skills through the mentorship program? Anything else that you'd like to add? Maybe a success story that, I know you talked about 2 students already, but maybe a success story as an individual, as an entrepreneur, since this is an entrepreneurship show, maybe a time when you weren't sure if you could keep doing it, if you weren't making enough money and had to do a side job along with this. Anything that you've learned along the journey of starting Next Level Experience or the mentorship program that you want to share with our audience that are also entrepreneurs or business owners that are looking to do something similar in their own way or something that was important to them?
Yes, I would say there'll be some days when you want to throw in the towel, but if you know beyond a shadow of doubt that this is your passion, don't do it. And then my advice to them is make sure you have 2 really good mentors. One that's going to always motivate you and encourage you, and that other one that's going to push you and challenge you like never before. I mean, challenge you to a point where you're like, oh man, is this really my mentor? And yes, they are, because that's why you need 2. You need one that's going to tell you, okay, you're doing a great job, keep going, and then you're going to need that one that's going to say, hey, now you didn't put enough hours in this week, so why do you think you're going to get different results this week?
Right. The whole definition of insanity, it seems like it brings its head up
absolutely.
on a pretty regular basis. It's like, why do you keep complaining about the results when you keep doing the same thing?
You keep doing the same old thing.
So,
and then, the other thing I wanted to share with you real quick was just companies need to invest in their people. And I always say when I'm meeting with a new company and I'm doing a proposal, I never say in my workshop, this is a workshop. I say this is an investment that your company is making in you. This day is all about you. Because typically when you say workshop, training, people just freeze up, oh, it's going to be another boring training, oh, it's going to be another work. I always say, no, this is an investment that the company is making in you. And you will get out of today what you put in today. I can guarantee you won't fall asleep in my class.
That's excellent. I mean, that's what people want. They want engaging, exciting, entertaining education. And I think this public school system probably has a lot to learn from you as well as to how you teach.
Absolutely.
And I have one last question for you, because, again, the people that are watching this show that are entrepreneurs or business owners that are struggling to find a mentor, is there a recommendation or a system that you follow to find mentors in the professional field? I'm always all about the power of peers. It's about finding people that are smarter than you or experiencing things that show they've been successful, and that group has a lot to do with your success. How can professionals that are out there now, entrepreneurs, find a mentor? Is there a system or something through social media? Any recommendations you can make?
Here's what I did. When I was at Bank of America, I had an internal mentor and an external mentor.
Okay.
And what I did was I looked at people around church. I looked at people that I came in contact with when I went to networking events. And I looked at what I wanted to do in life. And I wanted to say, wow, I wonder would they mentor me? And some said yes. Some said no. But I tell you what, more said yes.
That's excellent.
More said yes. And you'll never know if you never ask. But I also say this. When you're looking for your mentor, try to make sure it's not your boss. You don't want your boss to be your mentor, because if your boss is your mentor, when you really want to say something, you may have had a disagreement with your boss, how are you going to have that conversation?
Right.
And that's why I always had, when I was at Bank of America, I always had me an internal mentor and an external mentor, because sometimes I wanted to talk about some things that were happening at the bank, and I didn't want to talk to my mentor about that because they were at that level and they may have been on that team that made that decision.
Exactly right.
So that's when I would go to my external mentor and say, hey, the bank came up with this plan. They want us to execute on it. I don't agree with it, but as part of my job, I still have to do it. Help me, walk me through this, because I'm not fully understanding this. And when I get in front of my 40 managers, I've got to put my poker face on, because I haven't really bought all the way into this.
Right.
But I know I must be before I present it.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, Larry, you've been a wonderful guest to have. Let me review everything with our listeners. Larry Parrish is the CEO and founder of Next Level Experience. You can find information about Next Level Experience on his website, nlexp.com. He's also the founder and CEO of Next Level Community Impact Mentorship Program. Larry, thank you so much for being on the show. His email is larry@nlexp.com. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Much.
My pleasure, sir. You have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
Thank you. And you're listening to the Perky Collar Radio Show on WDRB Media. We'll see you next week.